Hey folks, Ross here. Quick disclaimer, this episode was meant to be a side story, a quick flashback meet cute of sorts. So I didn't call for any checks, so there's no dice rolling. But as you can see, it's not a short side story, it's a whole episode. So you're wondering why the characters are just able to do things without rolling or running a check. Now you know why. Anyways, thank you for being here and enjoy the show. Previously on Blades of Mayari, the island that violently appeared off the coast of Kaylahon during the Harvest Festival has brought with it a dense, fast-moving fog full of monstrosities. As people panic, our four heroes stand against the terrors. Athir slices through canine pugot, Batara feeds zombies and skewers a tentacle sea monster, Dog rides on the back of wak-wak birds, and Hiraya leads a pack of sigbin. The attacks eventually end, but leaves behind a wake of destruction. Hey everybody, welcome to Blades of Mayari. We are a Filipino-Canadian-led fantasy actual play podcast, inspired by pre-colonial Filipino mythology. Our show is powered by a tabletop role-playing game called Fatecore. My name is Ross, my pronouns are he, him, and I'll once again be your game master.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin Suloxon, he, him pronouns, and I play Dog, and he is a Black Kayo former sea raider with a heart of gold. And if you don't know what a Black Kayo is, too bad. No, I'm just kidding. They're mortals that resemble the goddess Hiraya. So think kind of like a half orc, half human type of character. And he's really cool. But there are other characters that I'll allow to introduce.
Next.
Yeah. They don't need my permission.
Save me.
Next, please.
Yeah, next, please bail me out.
That was me. Yeah, he's talking about me. Hi, my name is Mickee Reyes. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Batara Basa. He's an Umalagad Iron Chef. If you don't know what Umalagad is, too bad too, but I'm just kidding. No, he's a large crocodile man, and he loves to cook. And
Nice.
He just loves his family and friends, and just enjoys sharing his cooking.
He loves to love.
Yes, loves to love. There you go. That's right.
Chef Daddy. Hi, I'm TJ Benate, also known as the Noise Witch. My pronouns are they, them, or any. And I play Hiraya, who is a half Aswang exiled from their tribe. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because we're gonna leave some spicy details for the audience. Stay tuned.
And I guess that's me next. Hello, everyone. I'm Ren. My pronouns are she, they, or whatever you prefer. I play Athir of the Blue Maw. He kind of looks like a normal human being, but he gets followed around by spirits, especially the giant snake that lives on his shoulder. So I'll leave you guys with that description and see what you want to do with it. Enjoy our show.
All right. Well, with that, let's dive in. The devastation after the attack on the city of Kaylahon was astonishing. But so was the response from Raha Humabon and the Council of Datus. Within a few days, alongside recovery efforts and all the reconstruction that was going on, an armed expeditionary force of 105 warriors and volunteers was established and set sail to learn about and ideally wipe out whatever enemies brought harm to Kaylahon. The four of you find yourself on one of these balangay. There are 6 other wooden boats with 2 or 3 large colorful sails. Some of these balangay have lantakas mounted on them, narrow bronze gunpowder cannons, while others look like simple merchant vessels. Regardless of where the boats or the people have come from, they seem to be flying the colors of Kaylahon. On your boat, there are 11 other people anxious for what's to come.
After what happened at the palace, the spirits urged Athir onto one of these boats. He's not sure why. He's not sure if it's even such a good idea. But the voices the whispers, they urged him to get on one of these boats. And as he draws closer to the island, he can feel the prickle in the back of his neck, and he's not too happy about having to go there.
Robinson, your snake spirit friend, slithers out onto your shoulder. Says, Kuya, don't forget to take care of the water spirits that we're bringing. Right? They just wanted to see the island. And Robinson like hisses and flicks their tongue towards a large clay vessel full of water. The same spirits that you called upon in your defense of Castle Paraparo. You can hear them whispering how excited they are to see the island, how they've never been on a boat before, and they're just like, they sound like titas on a tour bus, you know, like they're just like excited to be there and happy to. They point at a beam and they're like, "Oh, what a cool beam!"
Athir kind of just reaches a hand down to this pot and taps and just pats the side of it, wondering whether or not it's gonna calm them down. But it's just the weird mixture of excitement from these spirits and the nervousness that comes from him. He turns his gaze away from this island and he looks to the other people, these people that have joined him, seeming to look like they're off on this grand adventure to become the next hero, and all he could feel is just a weird sense of dread at the pit of his stomach.
Dog, meanwhile, takes a really deep sniff of the salty sea air, something that he loves and enjoys and has been missing. And so he just breathes it in. Anyway, Dog turns to one of the other passengers on the boat. Seemingly looks like a little kid. The kid is probably maybe a teen, no more than, 15 or so. And he can see that the kid is visibly shaken, terrified. And in an attempt to comfort or inspire, Dog smacks the kid in the back. Why the long face, kid? Where's your sense of adventure?
I think I left it back on shore, Tito.
Tito?
Yeah. Is this your first time on the sea?
First? What do you think, kid? Does it look like it's my first time at sea? Look at this tan skin. You don't get tan skin like this from staying indoors. Look at your skin. You look pale as a bone. Is this your first time at sea? I should ask you that question.
No. I go fishing with my dad, and
excellent. Well, listen here, kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look at that island over there. Looks bleak, looks terrifying. Stick with me, kid, and you'll be okay. I'll make sure that you're back with your dad, fishing, catching all sorts of delicious fish. And hey, maybe when we get back to Kaylahon, you give me some of that fish. How does that sound?
Oh, okay, Tito. That sounds good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll protect you. Okay, you just stick with good old Dog. I'm Dog, by the way.
Hi. You can call me Toro. You can call me Toro.
Toro. It's a strong name, Toro.
Thank you, Tito. I believe in what we're doing, and my dad couldn't go because he's old and he needs to take care of the boat that was destroyed by that attack. So I'll believe in you, okay? I believe in us. We can do this. And he looks over to the island, and the island just crackles with lightning and thunder, and you hear in the distance a sharp scream and screech. And he recoils back into the boat. And says, no, we can do this. And he holds his harpoon really tightly in his hands, a wooden shield on his side. It's for Kaylahon.
Yeah. Good idea, kid. You've got the right mindset. You'll be just fine. And Dog turns away, facing the island, right at the edge of the ship.
You go to like the very front where like Luffy usually sits on his boat. Yeah, just like on the very very front. Yeah.
Batara watching all that happen. He's like looking at his idol encourage this young warrior in this dreadful situation. So he turns to everybody on the boat. You hear that, everyone? Dog's here. He said everything's gonna be fine. Look at him. We got Dog. We're all good here, guys. We're all good. And then, and he's just like pointing. He's like, "That's Dog." And he's just seeing this warrior lady's like, "Don't worry, we're safe on this boat. We're gonna win this war or whatever this thing is. We're gonna save the country because Dog's here." And so, while he's saying that, he's still a little bit nervous. So he takes out his pinga spear. He's also like eating food and he's trying to cope with it with like kind of comfort himself by eating, but also feeling comforted that Dog is here because Dog is the guy, his guy, you know. So he's like really just telling everybody that Dog is here, just pointing to everybody, getting some of his baon.
Some of the other warriors go up to you and says, "Oh, Kuya, what has he done? Who is this Dog?"
You don't know Dog? So his parents used to tell him stories about Dog and his sea travels and his legendary crew, but Dog is his favorite out of the crew. He is the one that is known for his trusty, rusty harpoon, right? And with his harpoon, he was able to stop 100 of those flying fish monsters from like engulfing the boat. Instead, he was able to like almost pierce through all of them, and at the same time catching all of them, like wrapping them around, like kind of wrapping
Like a
them
skewer.
around like a skewer, right? So besides that, like besides like defeating the enemy, he was able to have food for the rest of the city. So they partied after that. So it was really awesome. So it was like defending the country and serving a great meal, which is something that sounds great to Batara.
Even at this point, even Athir's looking, just like glancing to the side, kind of trying to connect this story to this dude standing at the head of the ship, being like,
Athir, you can tell like the story's elaborate, but you can tell that spear has seen stuff. You know, like this guy, despite his like verbose kind of presentation, like he's a capable warrior. That you can at least tell from a glance. The warriors are enraptured. They're like, "How's that possible?"
And Dog stays facing the island and with his back turned, but he's just trying to hide like the dumbest smile as he's overhearing them.
It's like on his face is actually ooh,
Yeah.
blushing. He's like, ah.
Yeah, Batara's just like waving his hands, trying to explain everything, like doing almost an interpretive dance to explain what's happening. But
As Batara's arms are waving wildly, telling the story, the smell of his baon starts to waft in the air. And around the corner, on a barangay ship, there's usually a shaded kind of area, like a bit of a rooftop kind of section where people also sit to get shade from the elements, from the sun. Around the side of this barangay shaded area, Hiraya sits crouched over, pulling up a little bit of a squat in the shadowy area, trying to sit there inconspicuously and unnoticed. But the unbearable, irresistible smell of that baon. The story is coming in one ear, out the other, but they just can't help the smell of whatever it is in that bowl. Now, normally, Hiraya is very, very avoidant of people. At this point, they're feeling very stressed. A bit of like that stress vein on the side of their head after experiencing so much emotions around everyone and all the chaos of the day. But the smell just enchants them out from the shadows. And as Batara is finishing up their story, they kind of sneak in right behind them and and just quietly say, "What are you eating?"
Oh, this. Then he takes takes out another compartment from his pingasphere. Well, you see here, this is adobong pusit. It's a squid with squid ink and adobo flavor. It's got some vinegar, some soy sauce. I like to add a little ginger for a little bit of the spice, garlic, tomatoes, onions. It's all got all the goods. Do you guys like cooking? Oh wait, you guys want some, right?
Yeah. Do you have enough? Yeah.
A whole like crowd in the background. It's like, yeah.
That sounds great.
Then a line kind of appears in front of Batara and behind Hiraya.
Yeah. So suddenly you have like a mini cafeteria as you like start to take apart the compartments of your pinga spear, Batara.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, it seems like I gotta cook some more. So, but for now, take everything in here. So he pulls out all of the compartments, like you said, and just shares it with everybody, and also takes out his palayok, and he's just kind of commanding everyone on the boat. He's like, "Oh, you guys got some onions? You got any more? Maybe you guys can go squid jigging. You know, catch some more squid. All right." And
You start cooking on the boat?
Yes, I will. Okay. I'm gonna activate my kaintayo.
Activate.
Yeah. Sounds
cooking.
Good. You start
I just start cooking.
Okay. But Hiraya, what are you doing at this point? The ingredients were listed out. I'm sure one of them kind of stood out for you.
The ingredients kind of go in one ear and out the other because the smell is just so enthralling. And having been very exhausted from the chaotic and wild day that we've all had, especially Hiraya, somehow they've landed with a bowl in their hands. Somebody somewhere from behind, from forward, from some ominous direction had passed them a bowl, and it has some rice and pusit, and they slowly grab in, of course, eating with their hands. Side note. They kind of brush their hands off and form one little piece of rice with squid and bring it to their mouth. And it's just like a scene from Food Wars.
Yeah. Okay.
On the outside, they're a very serious person. They have a very strong poker face, and with all the stress of the day, all of that kind of slowly melts with this first bite. And the slightest little smile creeps up on the side of their mouth. Inside their mind, everything turns pink and bokeh and kind of goes slow-mo.
Are you like dancing through a field with a bowl of squid adobo?
Frolicking.
Yeah, I'm dancing with a squid. Like in my mind, just a giant squid is now dancing.
Garlic's falling from the sky. And, like,
It's like Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as squid.
and then, as in that internal bliss that was occurring, because it's strange. Like you've had this adobo pasit before. Like this isn't an unusual kind of dish, or at least a variation of it. But yeah, it is deeply amazing. And then at the back of your mouth, an intense burning happens. it burns really badly. It's like it starts at the back of your mouth and it spreads to your mouth and goes down your esophagus.
I kind of pause, and my internal dreamlike state and fantasy just does a little bit of a record break.
Yeah, the DJ of that record break is a big root of ginger.
We need to commission an artist now.
Yeah, you very clearly realize that it's ginger that's like burning you from the inside out. It's not like lethal. It's not to that point, but it's like you've eaten something unbelievably spicy.
I kind of turn my head to Batara and I say, "Is there ginger in this?"
And I turn to Hiraya and looking kind of confused, but slowly give the finger gun point. I'm like, yeah. Like, not knowing that she is in pain. So just like, yeah, there's ginger in there.
And normally getting very upset at that because it is a very uncomfortable feeling. Just the eyes water, and I'm like, this is really good. You should open a restaurant or something sometime.
That's a good idea. But I like to just cook for. Oh,
Do you have water?
yeah, there's water all around us. I mean, yeah, I have some right here. Here you go.
It burns so good though. Like the flavors of the adobo and this ginger is like counteracting each other as you try and survive this like brutal spiciness.
It was from that moment that Hiraya realized that wherever this large crocodile man goes, they will be a fan and consumer of their food.
That realization kind of floats in the air for a bit because Raya hasn't been home in a long time, and this is kind of like a weird moment that you finally found kind of a place to just sit and eat with people, and it's strange that it happened here. Dog is the first one to see it. The island begins to loom very closely. Hey, it's Ross again. Welcome back to the midroll. For our merienda, since it's the holiday season, I brought some candies called Yema. They're not specifically for the holidays, but my family has only made them during this time. Our Yema candies are pyramidal in shape, made of condensed milk, egg yolk, and peanuts, and are wrapped in this colorful cellophane plastic wrap. Take a handful and be sure to share. Speaking of sharing, instead of a spotlight, I'd like to ask you to share our show to 5 people in your life who you think would love it. We're a tiny, independent show, and your support would make a huge difference. Our goal for next year is to get 150 downloads per episode, and with your help, I know we can do it. Whether you're able to share the show or not, we are grateful for you. Thank you again for journeying with us. All right, back to the show. It's the clearest sight of that island that anyone has seen. There are these large, what look to be red stones, boulders protruding out surrounding the island. There's this center volcano, or a center peak, that's within a large kind of steep mountain face, surrounded by a thick jungle. The balangay in the front that has the expedition captain, whose name is Kadar, this huge carabao horn tiefling, bellows out to the fleet. Storm! Brace yourselves! It's a strange feeling because you're all kind of just quietly eating and cajoling and enjoying this adobo, and Robinson is reminding you, Athir, of your utang, that you have to take care of this clay vessel, otherwise the spirits will get angry with you. And Dog, you're just kind of taking in the frivolity of being on a ship again. In an instant, you are all in a tremendous storm. The wind and rain cuts into your skin, and you're immediately chilled to the bone. The boat is rocking, the sea is choppy, turning into large waves. Athir, the spirits around you sound like high-pitched static. The spirit voices they sound like they're being pulled and ground up and stretched. It's cacophonous. It's hard to bear. The rest of you, in the midst of the wind, it's hard to see through all the rain that's kind of falling sideways. You hear the voices and screams of Balangay crews out in the distance being hurled into the protruding red boulders surrounding the island. In a similar instant, you find yourselves crashed on the beach. The footsteps of the warriors fall around you. The 4 of you seem to be in and around each other. Ahead, you see Kadar charging towards what looks like a wave of monsters spilling out of the mist. you look back into the sea, and you can see two boats, two of the balangai crashed amongst the stones. Very quickly, the four of you get back onto your feet, but you're surrounded. You're surrounded by monsters that you fought back in Kaylahon. The four of you have grouped up together kind of instinctively. What are you all doing to survive this?
Dog reaches behind and pulls out his trusty, rusty harpoon that has seen many battles, and he is going to take point in front of this group that's just been assembled out of the chaos, and he loosens up some of the slack that's tied to the edge of the harpoon, and he's kind of helicoptering it back and forth towards kind of the initial wave of monsters that are coming in. So just trying to repel and keep some distance between the monsters and the four of us.
Athir, after having scrambled back up to his feet, he takes a little pot and he puts it where he thinks it would be safe. And he just tells the spirits that you guys need to stay together. Don't leave that pot. It's sealed. There's a seal that will protect you, and you need to stay in there. And he picks up the closest weapon and looks at the chaos around him. And Batara's story is still fresh in his mind. He looks to Dog, and who's already started to fight, and makes a decision that it would be best for them to defend, or for him, per se, to defend Dog, as he is supposedly the strongest fighter on this boat.
Batara, seeing all the monsters come out of the mist, his first initial action is looking around and seeing who he can save, because it's just way too much, and he's more focused on making sure everyone's all right. So he sees that boy that had the shield and on the boat was strongly saying for Kaylahon, hiding behind the shield, and he's a bit farther off because the boat knocked him a bit further from the rock, so from landing onto the land. So he sees them in the distance just hiding behind the shield, crouched down. The shield's just over him. So Batara just makes his way, just kind of trying to run to him.
You're pulling him to kind of this safe area that Dog is creating with his helicopter spear.
Yeah, trying to bring him back to the group, I guess. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, you're absolutely able to do that. And I'm guessing you're starting to do that for other people as well, just trying to get people who are out of position.
Yes, I want to bring everyone together. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The emotions and chaos around are immensely felt by Hiraya. Everything feels like a brick wall, suddenly, as everything escalated so quickly. Are we able to use empathy to know how many creatures are around?
I think if you do that, your brain's going to explode. Because, even visually, it's like the entire beach is full. It's like the forest turned into creatures and it's spilling out into all of them.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
So it's just pure chaos everywhere. Okay, so the overwhelm is really getting to them. There's a lot of tension in their head, and they can start feeling a bit of a growl coming from their deep stomach, just trying to release and regulate from all of this cacophony. What time of day is it?
What time of day should it be?
My thing is I can't tell because it's just smoky or just mist. But I don't know what you. That's how I imagine it. I wouldn't know.
Do you need it to be evening? What's more interesting narratively? Do you should it be evening?
It should be, or just about to turn evening.
Yeah. Just about evening. Okay.
So
perfect. So it's the sun was setting when you left, and the final rays of the sun are peeking out of the horizon.
As Hiraya looks out into the horizon, seeing the sunset, another layer of stress creeps in. They suddenly realize that they no longer have their cloak on them, no hood, and in a matter of an hour, their appearance is going to be much more apparent to all of the humans around and other people around that they are not quite human. As the sky starts to get a little dimmer, their complexion starts to get more iridescent, and they, amongst all of the chaos, try and find a more hooded place to find a vantage point and see where everyone is and all of the creatures that are running around.
You're finding it in particular very difficult to slow that transition. It's as if being here is accelerating it. So you find kind of a more shaded place. You find Toro, who's behind his shield, creating this like big enough shadow for you to kind of crouch behind and be comforted by that shade. But that change is happening very quickly.
Okay. So I want to enact a swung flight.
So tell me what does that look like? So okay, hold on. So like full wings out.
Just wings out, baby.
Wings out.
Just like a Sailor Moon transformation where it's like everything's just starry all of a sudden.
And then you're covered in blood and then wings out.
Like the glorious Sailor Moon.
Right? Part of it's also stress induced because of
totally.
how much blood and chaos is around them, and also the internal conflict that they want to help the people who were on the boat, and they also want to prevent any of the life on the island from being massacred. There's a huge complicated feeling there because they can feel the emotions of both the people and also the creatures, which are both equally distressing. So there's like a very low growl that can barely be heard except from the people who's closest to Hiraya, and it starts to escape the back of their throat. This low growl starts to come out, and their arms start twitching a little bit, like there's an itch between their shoulder blades. And suddenly these two bat-like wings erupt from their back as a part of their transformation, and their pearl-like skin, as the sun is starting to set more, and the reddish tone in their eyes start to deepen. And with that, they take a very low squat and they propel themselves from the ground and vertically upwards as far as they can.
The timing is immaculate because it goes in between the spins of Dog's spear and past Aether's vertical attacks. Even though this might not be something that Hiraya does often, when it happens, the three of you can see that this person is very, very competent, very graceful in the air.
Aether kind of takes a second because he just saw a person burst into whatever shape it was with bat wings and just jettison itself off of the ship, and he takes a moment to kind of follow the shadow's trajectory into the sky, and he kind of readies himself in case this creature comes down for him or whoever's on the ship. But something tells him that they're not coming this way, so he just watches it.
Oh, it's Robinson. Robinson's in your ear saying, "Oh no, she's fine. No, their heart. Can't you feel their heart?"
And he just, no. Why would I be able to?
No, it's really weird. Aswang don't have hearts, I don't think. Or at least that's what I was told. But this one, they do.
Aswa? And he looks up to this creature in the sky. She was just a girl.
They're all just a person at first. All right, so as like the chaos ensues, Dog, is getting harder for you to keep this like perimeter of safety because every time you swing now, you can feel the spear cutting into creatures around you. Batara, you're getting exhausted because there's just tons of people here all of a sudden that you're trying to keep safe in a very limited perimeter. And Hiraya, the sky starts to blacken with the amount of creatures that are starting to fly up towards you. Through the chaos, you hear very clear sound, a gangsa, a bronze gong, start to be rung out. And despite the sounds of war, you hear Kadar again with that bellowing, commanding voice shout, "Retreat! Retreat!" And people begin to scramble, run for their lives back to the boats. What are you four doing?
Dog hears a call for retreat, still swinging and maintaining that perimeter. He looks behind and sees the few that are left, and he sees Batara helping people, and he calls out, "Hey, big boy, get everyone out of here! I'll hold them off as long as I can." And he just keeps swinging just to keep the creatures at bay.
So hearing this, Batara like just first stunned that he's being acknowledged, and then goes into kind of like a hero stance as what he saw him in the boat, like hands on the hips, and tries to gather all the people, but trying to stay calm, but not accomplishing the calmness, just really trying to bring everyone, because he wants to make sure everyone's safe. So trying to almost like bear hug people all together and like carry them all, like whoever can't carry their own weight. Some of them are like very injured from the monster bite, so it's just trying to like drag a whole bunch of people to the boat, having a very difficult time because there's just way too many people.
And those same creatures are attacking you as well. Like you're not safe from those claws and bites.
No.
As you drag them, you're taking the brunt of the force.
They're basically my back's towards them, so they're like scratching, biting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Getting all these scars. But I realize like I can't save all of them. So it really hurts so much that I have to just let go. And just continue like trying to push myself to the boat, because now I'm actually scared, like for my life. And I just look back being like pretty, like being sad, like, and tears in my eyes, just trying to go back to the boat. Yeah. Sad that I can't save everybody. I let my hero down, basically, so that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling some sort of way.
No, Alexa, play Hero by Mariah Carey.
I think Ferthir, he sees Dog give direction to Batara, and he turns to the horde of monsters. This giant wave that's coming after them. And usually he's not one to run from a fight, but there's something in him that's just really calling for a retreat back to the boat. He glances up towards to see where Hiraya is, and in the chaos, in the smoke, he's unable to really see her. And he turns to Dog and he's like, "Are you trying to die? We gotta go back."
Dog kind of laughs, still swinging. "Nothing's killed me yet, little dude. You go on ahead. I'll hold the rear. You should pick up that pot, by the way. You've left it on the sand there."
"Just don't die. The big guy's expecting you to come back." And he runs back, because now he's got to go look for his spiritual debt.
And Dog lets Aether kind of leave, still slashing away. Kind of really enjoying this moment, but starting to backpedal and kind of take note that the beach is sort of clearing out, and that he's definitely, now that nobody's around him, he definitely acknowledges that he needs to get out of there.
Yeah, larger shadows start to loom from the forest. They clearly tower over the horde of creatures that have been pouring out of the forest. And you're really the only one that's still kind of making a clear effort to attack the monsters. So these shadowed, hulking beasts start to make their way towards you.
And Dog sees them, these shadows kind of growing. It's a little more overwhelming. and he pulls back his harpoon and places it on his back and says, I think that's good enough for me. And he like just starts like he turns around and like just runs towards the ship.
Hiraya, you can see this. Dogs finally stop this helicopter attack. You can imagine, or you can feel, even from this distance, just how painful his shoulder is from like keeping this up for this long. You can see this other person, Aether, holding this like clay jar, running back to the boat, and Batara, the chef, trying the best he can to pull people with him, but clearly failing. And from your vantage point, you actually can't see any other of the warriors that came with you. It's just these three that are left.
Not only can I see it, but there's this really odd feeling of progressively more and more stillness as people's consciousness starts to fade, and you can feel like these emotions and sensations of pain and agony start to just fade away. So looking down at the three warriors kind of struggling to get back onto the boat, and then also penning over my vision towards the dark forest, there's a moment of clarity. Are there any creatures climbing onto the boat at this point, or most of them are in the forest?
There's still some distance because they've focused so much on all the warriors. So there's like this clear path to one of the barangay. But from your perspective, it doesn't look like the three of them will make it.
Okay. So, considering the options and also thinking about the Sigbin earlier in the day, Hiraya swoops down in between the three warriors, making it back from the boat, and also looking towards the dark forest, and tries to sense the sentient creatures that aren't seen. And they're prepared to try and do what they did with the Sigbin earlier.
You don't have to try it. In this case...
Because I already look freaky as hell.
You've fully embraced that side, yeah.
Okay.
So you like reach out with your feelings, and they reach back.
It's like a weird hug. And at this point in the more Aswang state, Hiraya, their skin is like glowing, their eyes are bloodshot red, like this piercing, intense red. And they can just feel the sense of all the creatures in the horizon. And they've never spent as much time in this Aswang appearance in front of other people outside of their own community. So it's an odd feeling to be so exposed in front of these other three warriors behind them. But again, with this very deep and strong growl, they kind of hiss. It's a mix of like a hiss and a growl kind of sound, and yet still sounds like some kind of semblance of words, and almost like an overlapping of sounds as well.
Stop.
Those that reached out with their feelings, they listen, they stop. You can see that the forest, the trees that have been like shaking due to like the monsters being poured out, they've stopped, but not all of them. There are still absolutely horde full of creatures still coming at you, but you can tell that it's not as like somebody turned down the town. It's given a little bit of breathing room for the three of the warriors to actually make it back to the boat, and the three of you get onto the barangay. Dog, you know that it's going to be near impossible to sail a ship of this size with just 3 or 4 if that winged one comes with you. But it's your only option. Hiraya, what are you doing at this point? Are you going to like join the 3, or are you going to try and stay on the island?
I'm going to try and stay on the island to delay the creatures coming from the coast as much as possible. because
Great.
at last minute I could always fly up into the sky.
For sure. So this little bit of time gives you just enough to get the sails up. Everything is rigged and ready to go.
Dog starts just kind of barking orders at Aether and Batara, who listen quickly and get the ship or the boat ready to depart. Dog takes one last look at the beach and this Aswang creature that seems to be communicating or holding off a few of the monsters, but creating enough of an opening. But Dog also notices just kind of right where the water meets the sand, there's just kind of a heap that's kind of dug into the sand a bit. And he catches a glimpse of something that he recognizes. And Dog pulls out his harpoon, which he uses he hurls towards this object to grapple it back just as the boat is leaving. And he realizes that heap that was beside this object, which is in fact a shield with the Kaylahon colors, belonged to that fisherman's son, Toro. And so that realizing that the kid he assured just moments before would make it, clearly didn't make it. Dog frowns for the first time on this, what he thought would be an exciting and adventurous excursion.
When you take a closer look, you can see the leather straps inside. Toro was holding it with his left hand, and the rightmost strap is clenched tightly. You can see the stains of blood on that strap. And you've seen this before. It's when somebody digs their fingers so tightly into their hand that it starts to bleed. It's very reminiscent to that moment. You can tell that to the end, Toro was holding up that shield. You start to make way. A wind picks up. Aether, you can see Robinson like begging the sky, please, Kuyas and Atis, please, a little wind, please. And there, it starts to pick up a little bit.
I think as the ship kind of pulls off into the water and it creaks off of the sand, he gets called out to by Kadar, and he turns to see the captain running back towards the ship, being chased by a horde of monsters. He tries to call for the ship to wait, to stop just a little bit, but it's too late as they pull out. And before he sees Kadar get swarmed by a bunch of monsters, something gets thrown into his arms. It's heavy, it sounds like metal, but he doesn't know what it is just yet.
You get a moment where Aether, at first it seemed like he was saying for the boat to wait to save him, but in fact it was so that he can be close enough to throw whatever this was. And even in overwhelmed by all these creatures, you can see this hulking mass of a person turn around and start pushing towards the wave as he gets overwhelmed. The boat is clear from the water. So Hiraya, what are you? You can see that the boat has made way and is making its way back.
Hiraya is hanging out and hanging on to the coast of the island, right where the land meets the water. And their stance is wide and still very tense. And in their Aswang form, their hands kind of look sharp-like, very defined, almost like talons. They fly up into the sky at a distance to watch over the three of them sailing. And farther enough into the sky where they're just in the fog and out of full visibility, but close enough where they're still within feels shot, like earshot, except with feelings.
The four of you have made notable headway away from the island, and the sounds of the creatures and the craziness of that moment starts to fade into the horizon. Hiraya, being so far away from that island, you're actually not really sure why, but your transformation starts to revert. Not to this like perfect aswang state, but somewhere in between. And it's getting harder and harder to fly. I'm going to compel that half aswang aspect of yours, and you actually can't stay up in the air. You start to plummet down at an angle towards the boat. I think, Dog, you're too focused on steering this thing, but Athir and Batara, you see a person fall out of the sky.
Batara, looking back at the people he couldn't save, looks up, sees something falling from the sky, and just reaches his arms out to catch whatever it is, not actually knowing why he's catching it, but just has an urge to save something, because he felt like he's just been so sad from not saving anyone.
The weight of this person hits you like a boulder. You kind of prepare yourself. Your tail ready, your loins are girded. But as this person hits you, your feet crunch into the deck of the boat, and you almost keel over from just kind of the impact. And you notice that it's this person that was asking for squid adobo not too long ago.
After realizing it's a familiar face, he's like, "Oh, you must have ate too much squid adobo." But trying to lighten his mood up with a joke, but just also tears in his eyes still about the people he couldn't save, and tells Hiraya that you did good. You did good. I saw you out there. I know we couldn't save everybody, but we needed to save ourselves. There's something my mom told me. I still feel bad that I couldn't save anyone, but we need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. We'll be back. We'll save them all. And he's like, tears coming down his eyes, trying to console himself and, gather the feelings of what's just happened. It's like, we can do it. We can do it. Like, just saying to himself, we can do it. We just got to take care of ourselves. We'll be back. And just keeps repeating that over and over while crying and looking out to the destruction that has happened.
While Batara is tearing up and kind of muttering under his breath, Hiraya's just kind of limp, hanging there still, because he didn't put her down.
Still holding.
And it's starting to kind of flail her a bit as he's getting more emotional.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I have no energy. Can you please put me down?
Yeah,
My back shoulder blades are all a little sore from my wings retracting back in.
Oh, as you wish. Sorry. Yeah. And then he lays a
bit of a clumsy,
laying down,
laying back down. They kind of crouch over, and Hiraya's just thrown off at how all the series of events, but especially how Batara was not even for one moment fixated on them being an Aswang. It reminded them that back home in their community, most people warned Aswangs from going out into the regular world because of how dangerous it can be. And to be out in the world with regular people and other communities, you have to do it very stealthily. And having just, without a choice, shown everyone their Aswang side, they're kind of vulnerable on the floor, sitting cross-legged and looking out onto the horizon, looking out around to the other, now 3 crewmates, and just overwhelmed with a mix of feelings of disappointment and confusion and exhaustion and hunger. A little grumble in their stomach starts to emerge, and they look up to Batara, who is still mid kind of sobbing, a bit anxious, and muttering. And they tap on their leg. This is probably not the best time, but do we have any snacks on here?
Batara just wiping his tears with his big alligator hands. Um, Stops and checks his last compartment from his Pinga spear.
There's still a compartment. Amazing.
Yep, still another compartment. And sorry, this might not also be the right time, but what is your name? You were beautiful out there. You saved us. You helped us. It's the least I can do. And gives her the last bit of the adobo pusit. I know you like this.
Squid dance.
And then he kind of takes a claw or a handful and kamayans it into her mouth.
Cheese boundaries.
Just mouth is cheeks puff up like a hamster.
I think he's just excited to help do something good. He just feels so defeated, this is a win for him. He's like, come on.
There's just an influx of food. Just my name. Okay. My name with a little bit of rice just on her chin. My name's Hiraya. What's your name?
Batara. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, my name's Batara. Batara Basa. Nice to meet you, and thank you. You're nice to meet you.
I think as Aether kind of just lets them do their thing, he looks towards the bag and he calls towards Dog, who's steering the ship at this point. Hey, Manong, come here. I think you want to see this.
All right. Dog sets the boat kind of on as straight of path as he can and kind of goes to Aether. What do you got?
He overturns the bag and just empties out the treasure that was inside the bag. I think they didn't tell us everything we needed to know before we got into that island. And it's just treasures from all across the islands, different designs, different
communities, far-reaching areas that have no business having items and artifacts here.
And Aether picks up something familiar, a piece from Nasarakna. This isn't supposed to be here.
Dog takes one of the pieces of treasure in his hands, kind of turning it over, thinking that things have already been so crazy that this has got a lot more interesting as well, and a lot more intriguing. And even with all that's happened, he actually can't wait to go back to the island. But he turns to the group and sees that Batara is force feeding this what used to be full-on aswang, but has seemed to calm down a bit. And so he says, I'm Dog, everyone. I think you might know, but if you don't, I'm Dog. Batara, right? I want to get everyone's name because whatever happens when we get back to the island, I think the four of us are going to be stuck together for a little while.
Like the stories? And Batara his face lights up a bit. He's like, and just thinking back to flashbacks of all the bedtime stories of a Dog and his crew, and thinking, and now being able to be a part of it, lightens up his mood a little bit. Yeah, from his sadness. So the tears are dried out after hearing this. And he's like, yeah, I'm Batara. That's me. He's like, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Just laughs because he doesn't know what to actually do. So can't handle his emotions right now. He's feeling good.
And Dog turns to the guy who just handed him this treasure. And what's your name? I didn't get it.
Aether. And he gestures to his shoulder. And this is Robinson.
And Dog is a little kind of creeped out at this kind of spectral-looking snake creature. Nice to meet you, Aether, and you too. And then he turns to the last of the group. And you really were the one who saved us all. So who am I to thank?
Head whips around, cheeks full of rice. Multiple grains of rice on the chin now. Just like puffed up. Hiraya. Big gulp. Hiraya.
Hiraya, well, I don't know what you are and what your story is exactly, but you saved our lives, and that means something to me. So thank you, Hiraya.
Your kind of nods along with it too.
They're suddenly uncomfortable with all that intense intense thanks.
A weird moment kind of passes where you realize just how close you were to the end of it. And as terrifying as that idea is, what's more unsettling is what happens now. The lights of Kaylahon flicker in the distance as your ship sails towards the next horizon. And that's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Ingat.
Bye.
Bye-bye.